Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be exploring the latest Stampers Anonymous collection for travel. I love these little groupings of themed stamp sets. What is old is new again. So let's dive in and see what we scored from that last release. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a whole bunch of Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous stamps. So as you probably knew, there was a video where Tim and Stampers Anonymous did a bit of a collaboration, and they've been redoing some of the packaging to some of the older stamp sets, and of course they've come out with some new clear stamps as well. We're going to take a look today at the stamps that I got from that particular video and some of the others that I just happened to scoop up at the same time because I just couldn't resist. All right, so this is the stack. We got quite a few. Let's start with the cling mounted. So for cling mounted, I have got, where are the labels on this? This is THMM 119, and this is featuring some lovely florals and this stencil combo in the background. Loving these. I do have these in the red rubber stamp size, but I'm greatly enjoying having different size stamps in a new configuration to play with. Size is everything and can make quite the difference when creating. Next, we have got THMM 143. And this is like a little birthday set. This is fun. I love the blueprint sketch for these. Now it's interesting because I actually just got the blueprint sketch version as well in minis, but I do love having different sizes. And for the stencil, we've got some really fun party backgrounds here. I like the diamonds, and then we've got the really cool stars. That will be fun. And of course we have some sentiments. I think that's really good because when I'm looking for birthday stuff, I found that my birthday stamps tend to be a little bit scattered and I can't always find the perfect sentiment to go with them. And let's be honest, if I'm using a sticker pack, well, the birthday sentiments are usually the first to go, and there just aren't enough per pack, even when I do buy doubles, even triplicates. So having the stamp is perfect and convenient. The next set that I snagged for the clear stamps include THMM 141, and this is like airmail themed. Again, we've got some more stars. This looks like it might be from the shifter stencil. It reminds me of that, but it's not a shifter. It's just the stars. And then we've got some great pointy fingers over here. Lots of fun letter mail stamps. That would make a really fun, you know what, I think I do want to do it today. Let's do a tag background with the stamps. I'm just gonna give myself a little reminder. That will be one of our little projects today. And then I also got the blueprint strip, and this is the Cling Mount birthday set. Yep, Cling Stamp birthday, and that would be THM B012. And we've got the balloon, it's in a smaller size. We've got the party hat, again, smaller size. The cupcake, which I've already used and love. That was the main reason for the set. And then we've got a present. This one I could definitely see crossing over into Christmas to put under a Christmas tree. So another fun set. Love these, and these are some of my absolute favorites to watercolor. All right, now moving into stamp sets. So I did get a couple of sets that are going to be part of a new series that I'm going to be launching in a few videos, not quite sure when. We have a mishmash of stamps. So some of these stamps, like CMS 001, were specifically redone for the video that Stampers Anonymous hosted because many of the older stamps were on this white plastic, which is totally fine. I do like the white plastic. It reminds me that they're older vintage sets. But with the redo, it's so nice to have the images stamped and printed right on the red rubber and the backing itself. So I'm very excited for that. But these two are particularly important. This one's not from that particular launch, but this one is. These are important because notice the numbers. We've got CMS 001 and CMS 002. So this is the first stamp set ever in the Tim Holtz collection. And in the upcoming video series, we are going to be doing a whole bunch of videos that feature one stamp set with a set of projects. It might be two stamp sets to a video. it's going to depend on how much there is on a set. Like these, I think could easily be paired as a video in and of itself. So I'm very excited about that, and that's going to be an ongoing series. There are 500 stamps in the collection, so it's going to take quite a while to do 500-ish videos, and some of them might be paired up, but we will see. So we've got some beautiful stamps. We've got some lovely florals. Those will be fun. We've got the cute little bird, and then we have a lovely sentiment that says, live in the moment and make it so beautiful that it will be worth remembering. That's a great sentiment. I love it. And then over here, we've got this really cool numbered stamp, and it's like a wood block. That's pretty cool. And the glasses, those are fun. And then we've got another great sentiment. Everything happens for a reason. It's just a matter of moving your point of view around until you see it. So those are the first two that I snagged, and can't remember if I grabbed set 3 or not. No, I didn't. So the rest of these were all ones except this one that are from that specific launch. So this one I just grabbed because I love the Umbrella Man and I wanted to have him in more than one size. So that's the reasoning behind this set. Then we got the fun little car. I love the Harlequin pattern. That would be really great to make a background with. The skull and crossbones, very cool. We got the splatter film strip and like a collage stamp. And we've got a couple of sentiments. Live the life you've imagined. The journey awakens the soul, and embrace imperfections. So another lovely set. All right, I'm going to try to take the others kind of in order. So first we have Icy Paris, and that's CMS 009. So we got a lovely Eiffel Tower. We've got a stamp here. That's pretty. I like the engraving on that, and this will make a wonderful background. Then we're on to CMS 046. This is the larger scale Umbrella Man. I really wanted to have him in more than one size, so that will be fun for creative convenience. And then we've got a large 13 card, and these are cool. I really want to do a background with that as well, and I really want to feature him with the birds. So I think that'll be my second card idea for today. And I think maybe some ink blending would be a good way to show these off. So I'm going to grab a piece of distressed white heavy stock, so I'll remember that this is going to be one of today's projects. All right, next we've got this. This is really cool. This is travel labels, CMS 0108, and these are just really cool vintagey signs. Very, very fun. This one really jumps out at me, Hotel Mondial. So we've got some really interesting shapes, and I think these could be great for backgrounds. This is very, very summer themed. That could be really fun, like to make into some ephemera pieces. The last one that I grabbed is Remnants. Now, Remnants I got very specifically for the hot air balloon. The hot air balloon just really caught my eye. It's really fun, and I love this background stamp here. Let's see, we've got a little airmail stamp, we've got a 5-cent stamp, and then we've got some really cool clockwork mechanism going on. So I'll probably want to stamp this today and do a little bit of watercoloring. Maybe we'll stamp 2 of those and do like kind of fast forward. Oh, you know what? That really could be its own card. So that will be my third idea for today. So those are the stamp sets. So let's dive right in and start creating. So the first thing that I wanted to do was to play with this set, and we're going to be making a background. And I was thinking we could do some smudge stamping with this, along with some of our Distress Archival minis. So let's take these out. There we go. Oh, they're taped together. Wasn't expecting that. Okay. Great. So first things first, we're going to need some blending tools. I want to do a combination of blue, brown, and red. So let's grab those. Here's our red. Now I need a blue and a brown. All right, so I've got my blending brushes. And now we just need some inks. For inks, let's pull in Fired Brick, Chipped Sapphire, and Scorched Timber. That will be our primary color palette. And now we just need a few stamping blocks, which I do have off to the side. There we go. I think I'll use this one. All right, and let's see here. I'm gonna start with this long one. That will look good in red. So we're just gonna kind of randomly stamp, and we're going to blend things out as we go along. So let's do the first little bit in real time, and then we'll go ahead and speed this up as we smudge and stamp to build a fun background. All right, so this can go right here. So we just take it, we stamp it down. Then I'll take my little blending tool and just very lightly go over that. So we're getting a little bit of a smudge at the same time. And I kind of want to continue that red line partway down. So let's give this a little bit more ink. There we go. All right, and that continues that. Cool. Let's do one more in real time. Let's see, what do I want next? I think I want one of the bigger, chunkier labels. So I'll peel that off, put that back. There we go. And let's get this one. I think I want to stamp this one in blue. So this will be some chipped sapphire. Let's put that right down here. And now I'll just take that blue blender and give that a little smudge. All right. So we're just going to keep building like that until I've got a completely formed background, and that will be fun to play with. All right, let's go ahead and put everything on fast forward. Here is the finished smudge stamped background. I am happy with the color palette that I chose, but I want to do one more thing before we set this background aside. I want to add a little bit of drip with the distress sprayer. So slow squeeze on the trigger and just trying to add a few drips here and there, just for a little bit of interest. I do love using the drips to get that slightly grungier feel. Okay, so I've got my drips. We'll be back in just a moment after I've had a chance to dry this off. Go. That is with the dried drip drops, and that is making me very happy with the distressed look. So just looking at this, I do want to add a little bit of a edge. I'm just taking my blending tool and kind of flicking the edges so that just has a little bit of added darkness to it, just to finish this off. There we go. All right, and that tag is done, to be saved for a future playtime. All right, moving right along, let's see what we have next. I think I want to dive in with this one next. This is going to be a good opportunity to bust out the microglaze, because I want this to be the main focal point and I want to watercolor it, but then I want to do something different in the background. And I think this could also be very interesting to stamp with that. I could layer it up, but I really want to do this as a single flat lay. All right, so we'll just open this up and pull out our elements. So another way that we could do that, I could cut a mask, but I think the microglaze will allow me to stamp without ruining my image. But if we get a little bit on it, it's not going to be the end of the world. It could just look really cool. All right, so I want to start with the hot air balloon, and we'll need a larger stamping block for that. There we go. And of course, we'll be going in with some Distress Archival Black Soot. Oh, you know what? I really want to use the stencil with this. Like the stars in the background could be really cool. All right, so adding our ink. Good, and now good firm pressure. Oh, that is going to be so cool. All right, right there. So this is a big stamp, so I'm trying to put pressure all over it. This is definitely one of the larger ones. I mean, when I think large stamps, like Glorious Garden is the first one I think of, but this one is still pretty big for a standard stamp set. Okay, and just for reference, this is CMS 130 Remnants. Okay, that's stamped out pretty good. So I want to color this in, and I'm thinking I want to go with Distress Re-Inkers this time. I've always got lots of choice, but I do love the Re-Inkers. Those tend to be my go-to when I am watercoloring. Okay, and let's grab a water brush. There we go. Got my fine detailer from Ranger. And let's see here. Now to choose colors. That is the hard part. I want to do like two-tone. I kind of want to do like a goldish color and a blue color. So let's start off with some fossilized amber. I think that'll be good. There we go. Could be a two-colored balloon. And I'm going to have just a little bit of water off to the side so I can dip my brush. All right. That should look really good. So we're just taking some color and moving it around so that we can have a lovely image. There we go. Sometimes I like using larger brushes to do watercoloring, especially when I've got large areas to fill in. But my brushes kind of ran away, so we're going to make do with the water brush today. There we go. Nice and bright with our fossilized amber. Now for the second color, I'm thinking I want some Blueprint Sketch. And that's going to be right here. Why not? I don't use Blueprint Sketch that much. It's a lovely color. I really should use it more often. Okay. There we go. And we'll add some over here. So many pretty colors. Now, I'm really excited about the hot air balloon. It's a really great stamp. It's not one I considered having in my collection, but I keep seeing it pop up here and there, and I just thought it was a really fun one. So, had to have it. Now, I'm going to go back in with the yellow. I missed a couple of spots. So we'll just carefully add that in, and then we will turn our attention to the rest of the stamp. And a little bit of extra blue. There we go. It's turning out nice and bright. Oh, that needs some blue too. I think I missed some more of the yellow. Right there. Okay. Good. So the next thing I want to do is add a bit of brown. I want some brown for the basket and maybe for this part here as well. I've got some vintage photo. That'll be just right to add in. So I'm just putting that on. All right. And we'll do a little bit more along here. I'm not really quite sure what part of the balloon this is, but I think brown works. Good. Just a little bit more. That'll be finished up. And I think I want to finish off with a red flag. That would look really good. Just need a little bit more. Let's add that here. Good. Now I want a dash of red. I'm probably going to get Lumberjack Plaid or Festive Berries. I can't tell what my palette's doing at the moment. The red's got a little mixed, so it could be a little both. All right, I think I scooped some Lumberjack Plaid. So I'm just going to carefully paint that in. There we go. That'll look good. And then we've got the two little sandbags at the bottom. I think I might use a little bit of one of the yellows on those. Or maybe I can just lighten out the vintage photo. I might lighten the vintage photo. There we go. Okay, so now that I have the watercoloring done, I really want to stamp in the background with the large stamp right here, but I don't want to catch the balloon. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a bit of microglaze to act as a resist, and we'll see how well it's going to hold up. And I will stamp in the background with some more Distress ink. I'm just going to take a good dollop of the microglaze and I'm going to rub that in. I'm just using my finger, and this is going to prevent this part from collecting any more ink. Microglaze is one of those particular substances. It either works really, really well and you nail it on the first try, or you end up with an absolute disaster. It's one I'm still practicing with, so I have no idea what sort of results we're going to get today. I've also found that depending on the weather and the humidity level, that can really change the results that you get. But who knows? Everyone is working in different environments, so it's hard to say per se what's going to work from one space to another. I just know that Quebec is a bit more humid, so my resists don't always play out the way I expect them to. But you know what? We're going to have fun trying, and whatever happens, happens. And if it's unexpected, well, we can just make it work anyway. I think there was a quote about that. Expect the unexpected or impossible results. All right. So let's put that stamp back and we'll swap that out. Now, what do I want to stamp with? What colors do I want? Ooh. Kind of want to stamp with a black, but not really. A color could be nice, but I don't want to overwhelm things. You know what? Let's stamp with chipped sapphire. And then maybe I could blend in some brown in the background or a lighter blue. I'm not sure which, but let's try something. Or maybe we'll just leave it, because this is like a really solid stamp. Well, I don't know. We're just going to try something and see where it takes us. And this is the fun about crafting. Sometimes you know exactly what you want, other times you're not quite certain, and sometimes we're just going to try and see where it goes. And this is one of those, I don't know what I'm doing. I kind of know what I want, but I don't know what we're going to get. But as they say, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. So, let's get creative. Okay, so I think our ink is looking pretty good. It's a little splotchy, not the end of the world. I can always add some drip drops in the background. Now, I think I can do this in halves. I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to try to really work at stamping the areas that I know don't have the hot air balloon by applying extra pressure there and less pressure where I know the hot air balloon is hanging out. Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's ink that up again and see what happens on the other side. It completely resisted, like it didn't lay down at all. That is really cool. I love that. Kind of getting excited here. This could work. Not what I was expecting at all, but I will take these results. Cool. All right, and let's try this side. Now I kind of want to change the spacing of the words a little bit because I want to have things slightly overlap, and part of that basket is see-through. All right, good. Re-ink just a little bit. And let's stamp the rest of this. Think about here. All right, let's see how we did. Ooh, that is just so cool. It really did exactly what I wanted to. I've got like nothing on the hot air balloon. I'm going to wipe this off because it was trying to leave ink behind, but because of the microglaze, it resisted just like it's supposed to and is leaving my image absolutely clear of that extra ink. I am very excited about that. Very, very, very cool. I was not expecting to get such clear results. That's what I wanted. Neat. So the microglaze played nice today and the environmental circumstances were just right. So what I'm going to do now is add some water droplets because I want the background to be a little bit grungy, and this is still protected. I've still got microglaze on it so the water won't affect the hot air balloon. And then we'll dry it off and add a sentiment and we can call this done. That's exciting. So slow trigger squeeze. And just trying to work our way around the edges. I don't want the balloon to get splashed too much. There we go. Okay. And I'll just dab those couple of drops off the balloon since the microglaze is doing its thing and resisting. Don't need those extra droplets there. Okay. So let's dry now. Let's finish this card off with a border and a sentiment. So we'll start with the border first. I decide I want a golden border and I'm pulling in some distressed paint, tarnished brass. So I'm just going to take my paintbrush and we're going to paint a quick little jaggedy border around the edge of the card, just for a little bit of shine. There we go. And maybe I will even add in a few of those stars. That could be interesting as well. Just a thought. But let's get the border done first and then I'll see about some stars. So just quickly painting this in, not trying to be perfect, working around the edges. There we go. There, not bad. Already halfway done. And turn. And we'll just do this side as well. It doesn't have to be neat, just needs to be there. Another way to do this particular border would be to use some foundry wax, but I felt like going the paint route today. Okay, almost done. Good. So I think I do want to add in just a few stars, and we're going to do that with some distressed paint. Let's see here. I am leaning towards some, I want to add something different. Maybe some bright yellow. Let's go for some mustard seed. That could work. So I'm going to give that a really good shake. And we'll put a little bit down on the side. Okay, I'm just going to quickly dry that border off and we'll be back with some stars. All right, let's go in with a few stars, and I'm going to grab a small piece of sponge so I can gently dab this through the stencil. So I'm just cutting a little bit of sponge from here. Don't need a lot, just a little will do. Great. And we'll take this. I'm gonna do like just a couple little stars right here. So I'm just dabbing up a very little bit, and we're just going to tap that right through. Just lining things up, good. And lightly tapping. Good. Doesn't take a lot of paint, just a little bit. Okay, now I want to do a couple more. That looks nice. Let's do a couple right here. And if I can, I'm going to try to get that little cutoff point too. Yep, I think I can do it. There we go. So just dabbing in those stars. There we go. Looking good, and we'll carefully lift it. That's working out very well. And I want a couple over here. Let's put 2 here. A little bit more paint, and we'll dab it. That is working out very well. Okay, and one more spot to drop a few stars. Let's put a couple right here. And again, I'll try not to get any on the borders. Pretty good. Okay, I'd call that done. That worked out really well. I'm loving the stars here. So I'm just going to give this stencil a very quick clean because we don't want that paint to dry on here. Just going in with this spray bottle and very easily wiping that off so the stencil will stay all nice for the next time we want to create with it. Very good. The last thing to do will be to add some sentiments. And for that, I'm going to be pulling in one of my vintagey Tim Holtz finds. So excited about these. I found these on eBay a while ago. We've got some Chit Chat in brown and white. So I'm going to be using the brown. And we're going to put a little sentiment right over here. Remember to fly. I love the Chit Chat. It lets you build your own little sentiments. And there's so many words. All right, and we have a completed card. So we've got time to do one more. I'm not sure if it's going to be a full card or a background, but we've got some ideas. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So we're just going to clear the deck and pull in the next stamp set. The next stamp set I really want to play with is this one. And I'm thinking we might do a little bit of embossing. And then we can do some ink blending on top of that. So I really wanted to create a background using this, and I want to feature the Umbrella Man and those little birds. So we've got a long stamp again. Let's find our larger stamping block. There it is. And we'll stick that right on here. Good. So I'm definitely thinking I want to do some embossing, and we're going to go with some standard black Ranger embossing powder. We've got many colors of distress, but I'm thinking classic black in this case might be the way to go. Okay, there we go. Ooh, need to order some more of that. And how do we want to do this? I want to kind of stamp these here, or maybe I want to go like this, and then I could have like a skyline. Yeah, I think we could go that direction. All right, we're going to need the embossing dabber. That's my favorite tool for this sort of job. And I'll probably do a separate tag for him. But let's work on the background first. So, adding in the embossing ink. Good. And let's put that right on here. Putting that down, good firm pressure. And we're just going to keep stamping until the space is covered, and then I'm going to go in with the embossing powder. And the next one we'll have that go just like slightly lower. Okay. Good. Well, let's keep going. Each time I'm just going back and forth, adding in more embossing ink, just dabbing that on here. We'll do the best we can. Let's see, I'll put this one about here. Good. And it looks like I'll need 2 more. Okay, and 1 more, then we can emboss. All right, last one. Great. Now I just need some scrap paper, and we'll be able to sprinkle our embossing powder. All right, not perfect, but I've got a scrap envelope around. We'll make it work. There we go. Let's see how that goes. Okay, it's a little grainy, but I'm fine with that. Kind of just adds to the visual interest if it's not perfect. Okay, we'll make it work. Perfect it does not need to be. Okay, definitely looking like a hot mess, but I'm totally okay with that. Sometimes not perfect stamping can look really, really cool. And we'll just put that extra bit back into the jar. There we go. All right, I'm gonna quickly emboss that and we'll be right back to take a look at the end results. Here are the results with the embossing. Definitely a bit grungy, and I am liking that because we're going to be doing some ink blending in the background. We're going to be using some picked raspberry, mustard seed, and mermaid lagoon. So I'm just gonna grab this ink. It's gonna be pretty random. The main thing is I just want to add a bit of color and have this pop. So there we go. Nothing too fancy. And again, I've got dome foam and the mini blending tool. Definitely my favorite for working with ink. All right, let's go in with the Mermaid Lagoon, and that blend will be all done. Ooh, that's starting to look really good. I'm liking that. Fun. There we go. I'd say we've got a really nice blend here. Okay. So, quite happy with that. The next thing I want to do is add in those beautiful birds. Just going to put this back, grab the bird stamp, stick it down, and I will stamp with Distress Archival. And of course this is black soot. Take that and let's place those right here. Ooh, I like it. That is great. That's a really fun background. I was not anticipating to like it so much. Oh, I do love a happy surprise. Okay, so the last thing that I want to do is add in the Umbrella Man, and I want to give him his own little background. But the question is, what do I want to do when stamping with him? Is that big enough? Yes, that'll work. Kind of want green. I don't know why, but I'm getting Matrix vibes from this. Yeah, I want green. We're gonna go with some Lucky Clover. And while I'm at it, I'll pop these back in as well. There we go. I don't know about you, but I'm more of a clean as you go type of crafter. If I don't put things away as I'm crafting, my space rapidly disappears and I end up working inside of a teeny tiny box. And I'm not a fan of that. I like to have a bit of space to spread out and not have a situation of coin dozer. That's probably my least favorite thing because with my desk, it's almost impossible to reach things around the back. That would mean moving a lot of storage boxes and having to tangle with cords that have been set. So, clean as you go is my motto. Okay, we've got him all inked. Let's see how this looks. Now, I know this is going to be a little uneven because of the little bump at the top, but I'm okay with that. So, just a little bit of extra pressure there. Let's see what we got. Okay, that works nicely. And the question is, what do I want to do with that background? Well, let's put this back first. And you know what? We are going to use that quote because why not? It's a good one. And I'll switch back to Distress Archival. And then I'll see about doing something about that tag. It needs a little bit something else. Not sure what yet, though. There. Oh, I really want to add some spritz. Okay, I like that. I know I want spritz, but I want to ink this. But with what? Or maybe I don't want to ink that. Maybe I want to spray it. I could spray it. I want something really light. Let's go with some tumbled glass. Okay, I like it. But I also want to add just something a little bit more, just a little bit of texture. I need like a really small stamp with some words on it. Just something a little random. I'm going to do a quick look because I know I've got something that fits that description in this current stash. Oh, what am I thinking about? There's got to be something really small. Maybe the airmail. Let's see here. Doing a quick check. Yep, this will work. Live in the moment. And I can do that. I don't really want the text to show up that well, so I can stamp that several times and get the look I'm after. So we're just going to lightly stamp that. So I'm actually just brushing the ink across because I don't want a clear image. I want this to be in the background. And you know what? I don't need the block. There we go. Take that, turn it. Perfect. I just didn't want a lot. I just wanted some text. There, much happier with that. I can put this back on the sheet. And I did want some spritz. I want blue spritz to be precise because I want it to look like rain. Let's go with some prize ribbon. Give that a really good shake. Make sure all the sediment is incorporated. And let's give this a little dash of spritz. There we go. All right, I'm just going to wipe this up. We'll dry it off and stick it on our card. Okay, so the tag is all nice and dry. Now let's assemble a card. I decided that I wanted to add a sparkling base, and we've cut this down by 1/4 of an inch on each side. So we'll be able to layer this up quite nicely. I've got some foam squares here. Get a little bit of height going. And we'll have another completed card featuring some of those really cool stamps from the latest Stampers Anonymous video. latest, well, that was like almost a month ago, but latest to me because I just barely got my order in and I'm so excited to be able to play. Okay, take that, line that up. There we go. Nice layering. And I want to go with some thinner pieces to add our tag to, but I also want to trim the tag down just a bit. More like a lot. I kind of want to chop a few pieces here and there. Okay. Not bad. So now we're just going to add a few more foam squares to the back and we'll be able to call this one done. This card definitely took a few turns that I was not expecting, but I do love where we ended up. Just sticking these down. Oh, that one's smushed. That's okay. Got plenty of these. So the foam squares that I'm using are from Simon Says Stamp, and I love how they have different heights. You can get the really chunky ones, or you can get the thin ones that just give you a little lift, depending on what you're building and how. Choice, I find, is always wonderful. So I do want to kind of set this off to the side. There we go. I'm really happy with that. I did not expect this card to end up here at all. I didn't think it was going to be so colorful. I was actually kind of going for grunge, but the quote just kind of let the card become its own thing. And I'm really happy with the rainbow background. I love that we were able to mix and match our stamping with some embossing. We got our spritz going on, some distress inks, and even a little bit of ideology snuck in the background with some sparkling craft stock. Let's take a quick look at what we've been creating today. Today has been all about Stampers Anonymous and the latest drop. I am very excited to have these lovely stamp sets to play with, and I can't wait to do even more with them. So today we've worked on a tag with a bit of smudge stamping that featured one of the clear stamp sets. And then we pulled out an old favorite. This was on my wish list with the remnants and that gorgeous hot air balloon. I'm so excited to have that in the collection. I've really wanted it for quite a while. And then, of course, we have the Umbrella Man. One of my favorites. Love him. And I'm still surprised where these projects took me today. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner. And until next time, happy crafting.